Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
Answers in sight. That's the hope from many Hamtramck residents amid growing dysfunction among city leadership. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Pamela Osborne.
And I'm Damon Fernandez. You know, we've been following this story for weeks now. It started when Police Chief Jamil Al-Tahiri was placed on administrative leave amid misconduct allegations. The
chief denies any wrongdoing and calls the suspension retaliation from City Manager Max Gabarino. Tensions came to a head during an emergency meeting last week. We were there rolling when Gabarino and Mayor Amir Ghalib got into it. The mayor doesn't think Al-Tahiri should have been suspended, while the city manager stands by the decision.
Victor Williams is outside Hamtramck City Hall tonight. So, Victor, the debate here is over who should handle the investigation into these allegations. Is that right?
Yes, that's right, and we're actually going to get into a little bit of that into the story in just a bit. But the thing is also they're going to be having a meeting to determine that. That's going to be happening in just a few hours. But a lot of passionate people are on both sides of this.
The police chief, I mean, it ain't fair at all, obviously, if you actually look into it. It ain't fair.
Many are patiently waiting to see what decision Hamtramck officials will make regarding what to do about allegations made against the chief of police, who's now been suspended. Local 4's Jacqueline Francis showed you the turmoil surrounding the last time a discussion was held between the mayor and the city manager.
We made the peace in the PD with you, so I let that go.
And then the next day I heard from the news you suspended him.
Mayor,
there are as a respect to I spent so much time with you both.
Mayor, there are
the city manager recently suspended the police chief after misconduct allegations, seemingly out of nowhere.
If the people are innocent, they'll come back. Simple as that. If they're not, they'll get terminated.
The mayor, however, is hoping for more of a fuller investigation before any disciplinary action is taken against the police chief. Local 4 has also been told that the FBI has now gotten involved on allegations that seem to go even farther than just the police chief.
My name was mentioned in those allegations in one section that I'm sure 100% that it's a lie.
While many wait for the outcome of the next meeting, some just want the mayor and city manager to work together more efficiently.
You know, it's like a lose-lose situation. Honestly, that's how I'm looking at it.
And best believe we are going to have a camera right there inside of City Hall once this meeting takes place. Live in Hamtramck tonight, Victor Williams, Local 4.
All right. Thank you, Victor.
Well, it was a day to remember and honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Dozens of Memorial Day events took place around Metro Detroit today.
We start in Royal Oak, where the city hosted its 110th parade. It showcased the Royal Oak High School Marching Band, World War II veterans, and numerous American flags. The parade also marked the end of a journey for Lawrence Miller, who participated in the Trek for Vets, walking across the state to support veterans.
And the city of East Point also saw a large turnout for its parade. It featured military vehicles, big trucks, youth groups, and of course, some veterans out there. Neighbors say it was a great way to support and show support for those who help protect our country. And over at Ryan Mann's Field on Connor Street, it was the first ever In Memory of Classic. In observance of Memorial Day, the Full Count Foundation honored Private First Class Raymond Mans, a Southeastern High graduate who fought in World War II and gave his life in battle. A dedication ceremony included the placement of a temporary marker bearing Mans' name at that field.
President Donald Trump and members of his administration commemorated Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery. The cemetery is the final resting place of more than 400,000 of the nation's heroes and members of their families. As is tradition for the nation's commander-in-chief on Memorial Day, Trump participated in a wreath laying at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which serves as a memorial for those whose remains have not been identified.
These warriors, and that's what they are, as great, great warriors, picked up their mantle of duty and service, knowing that to live for others meant always that they might die for others. They knew that. They asked nothing for it. They gave everything, and we owe them everything and much, much more.
The president was joined by Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
And police are looking for help tonight finding those responsible in some violent attacks that left 3 people hurt on Detroit's east side. Now, the chaos happened late last night at Jane Park. That's located off Conant Street near the Detroit-Hamtramck border. Police say when they arrived at that scene, they found 2 men were shot. One of them died. Another man was stabbed, and the 4th man was hit by a car. The conditions of the 3 survivors are still unknown tonight. Anyone with information on what led up to these incidents is urged to call Crime Stoppers.
A 13-year-old boy in Bedford Township has been arrested after allegedly breaking into homes and threatening a homeowner with a stolen gun. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says that boy ran away from his home and later broke into a workshop where he threatened a homeowner with a handgun. After a struggle, the homeowner disarmed the teen, who then attempted to attack with a hammer. The boy is now in custody at the Monroe County Youth Center, facing multiple charges. His identity is not being released.
And tonight we're learning about some disturbing news in England, where over 40 people, including children, were hurt after a van crashed into some pedestrians there. It happened during a parade celebrating Liverpool FC's championship. Tens of thousands of people were lining the streets there at the time. Video shows a black van slamming into the crowd. The van then came to a stop and people surrounded it. A 53-year-old man has been arrested. While the motive remains unclear tonight, police say terrorism is not suspected.
Michigan's movers and shakers set to make headlines up on Mackinac Island for the Mackinac Policy Conference. Our Jason Colthorpe will be there as it starts tomorrow through Friday morning. There will be speeches, panel discussions, and announcements from state leaders. The final day of the conference will be a Detroit mayoral debate of key candidates. Jason will have live reports here on Local 4 and Local 4 Plus all week. The island is also in the news for something else. Mackinac Island has been named the #1 summer travel destination by USA Today. This marks the 3rd year in a row that the tourist spot has won the honor. The award was voted on by travelers nationwide who noted the island's charming car-free streets, historic landmarks, and scenic bike trails.
Well, there's a new focus on fluoride right now after Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced he'd moved to prohibit its use in drinking water. So get this, his comments came back in April, and already 2 states, Florida and Utah, have banned it. So what does this all mean for dental health in America? Well, there's a chance of research on fluoride since it was first used in 1945. Did you know Grand Rapids was the first city to add it to their drinking water? Well, researchers studied the city for 15 years and found that among 300,000 school children they looked at, the tooth decay rate for kids born after fluoride was introduced dropped by more than 60%. Now, experts say the water fluoridation benefits over 200 million Americans, and 13 million school children are in school-based fluoride mouth rinse programs. A dental expert at Ohio State University points out that healthy teeth mean healthy people.
Big time decay, the tooth breaks down, it starts to involve the nerve of the tooth. It gets deep enough that the tooth becomes sensitive to hot or cold or both, or spontaneous pain. All of a sudden it's outside of being a dental problem. We're talking about a major medical emergency because teeth are connected to the rest of the body.
Now, Secretary Kennedy has promised that a panel of experts will review the federal fluoride guidelines and make new recommendations, but it's still unclear when that new guidance will be made available.
Okay, well, before we get a check of the forecast, we want to take a look at some of the Memorial Day My Picks you sent us from home. This photo is from Karen, and it shows the Detroit skyline lit up in red, white, and blue. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and check out these 2 happy pups. Lori says Kelso and Sana enjoyed their holiday walking in the St. Clair boardwalk over there. It definitely was a great day to get outside. You know, Ron Hilliard is tracking the forecast for us tonight. So Ron, tell us please that we'll see more of the same this week.
You know, we are going to see those temps getting back to around 70 degrees tomorrow, and then we take a dip with those temps before we return to the 70s. It was absolutely ideal today to get outdoors. Great weather for the parades. Right now, we're at 60 in Mount Clemens. You go into Port Huron, we're at 48, but look at that. You have temperatures that are right about 10 degrees warmer than that as you travel a little bit to the southwest, going over toward Garden City, Wayne, Westland, and we are going to be seeing those temps coming down a little bit tonight. So those temps overnight will be chilly in a few spots with those 40s already popping up in Detroit and places like Southgate, Taylor. We are going to have those temps eventually getting down to around the lower 50s in those late overnight hours. So we do have those temps that are going to be a bit of a roller coaster. I talked about being around 70 tomorrow, dipping into the 60s, and then back into the 70s as we go into the end of the weekend. But what will the sky conditions look like? That I'm going to have for you coming up.